So there's nothing subtle about Ducati's 937cc Testastrada hooligan machine. It's a lot of things, but is it really a monster? So change is inevitable, especially in the world of technology and innovation. When it comes to the latest version of the Ducati Monster, one of the most controversial topics amongst Ducati enthusiasts is the lack of a trellis frame.
So, is it a radical and disruptive departure from the iconic Monster design, or is it a revolutionary step forward? The Ducati Monster SP is powered by the same engine that's in the Ducati Multistrada V2, the Supersport 950, the DesertX, and the HyperMotard.
It's a 937cc liquid-cooled 90-degree V-twin with 4 valves per cylinder and a Desmo valve train, which is pretty much as Italian as red plastic tablecloths and spaghetti.
It puts out 111 horsepower at 9,250 RPM, with peak torque of 93 Newton meters at 6,500 RPM. It's got a 6-speed gearbox with a slipper wet multi-clutch and a Ducati up and down quick shifter.
One of the big changes in recent versions of the Monster is the frame, which is now an aluminium alloy front frame that is based on the one found in the Panigale V4. So it's lighter, giving it a much better power to weight ratio. It has a steering dampener, fully adjustable 43mm Öhlins NIX30 upside down forks, and twin 320mm semi-floating discs. The brakes are wonderful. They're radially mounted Brembo Stylema 4-piston monoblock calipers that I really love. On the rear, there is a fully adjustable Öhlins monoshock with a double-sided aluminium swing arm and a 245mm disc and a Brembo 2-piston floating caliper.
It has 17-inch rims, front and rear, with excellent Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4 tyres that have great traction and feel. I think we both liked those, and it looks like the last reviewer had a fair bit of fun on them too.
I thought that was you with those tyres.
Sure, it was me.
Just own it.
The twin Terminioni exhaust is standard on the SP version, and I think it looks great.
It has a great suite of electronics such as cornering ABS, traction control, wheelie control, a stunning halo LED daytime running light. Actually, it has a full LED headlight and lighting system, Ducati power launch, a pretty good and clear 4.3-inch TFT, and very, very cool dynamic turn indicators. It has a relatively tall seat height of 840mm, which, Tegan, I think you quite liked.
Yeah, I definitely did. The height was great. I could just flat foot it, but it was pretty good because every time Ross and I went out, I got to look down on him on his R18.
Whatever. It weighs 186 kilos wet and has a fuel capacity of 14 litres that seems to disappear pretty quickly. The price of the 2023 Ducati Monster SP is $23,200 right away, and it has service intervals of 15,000 kilometres, with a valve clearance check needing to be done at 30,000 kilometres. Now that seems like a massive improvement compared to the service intervals on older Ducatis. So first of all, for me, it's a Ducati. Now, it's not just Ducatis that are exotic. I think it's all Italian bikes that are exotic. You know, Aprilia, Motoguzzi, my Laverda, Vespa. They're exotic bikes, but Ducati is the top of the list.
Yeah, when you say you're on a Ducati, everyone knows exactly what.
Yeah, so that was the first thing that I loved about it.
Yeah.
And then on the back of that, the looks. It just looks great. I can get past the lack of a trellis frame on this. It's a whole new thing, and I think it's one of the best looking nakeds on the market.
I thought it was absolutely beautiful. When we arrived and we had a look at the bikes, it stood out amongst all of them. I just thought it looked beautiful.
Okay. I mean, I thought the Panigale V4S stood out, but anyway.
That too.
We'll come back to that. Look, the build quality is excellent. The paintwork is great. All the controls are really nice and easy to get to.
Yes.
Everything looks like it's high quality.
Yeah, nothing looked plasticky or cheap. Everything looked high quality.
Absolutely. And one of the highlights, that halo daytime running light, stunning.
Yes.
Absolutely stunning. That and the progressive indicators. The other thing that I found really cool, the tail light is this sort of U shape, which looks great. But as soon as you put the brakes on, it turns into this, I call it an 80s style tail light. It just looked old school and really cool. I loved it.
Yeah, nice. Now, in terms of the actual seat, I don't know if you noticed, but it was really narrow. It's quite a compact design. So when you sit down on it, it just feels small, which really helps when you're trying to filter through traffic. I really liked that about it.
Yeah, the whole silhouette, when you're looking in the seating position, the whole silhouette of the bike is actually really narrow. The tank is not wide. I rode an old Ducati Monster a while ago, and like the tank felt quite sort of bulbous.
Yes.
This one really sort of narrow tank. That narrow seat height helps with the height of the bike as well, so you can easily flat foot it. One thing I did notice though, the heat from that seat.
Oh yes, okay, that it did get warm when you're sitting in traffic.
Yeah.
Outside of traffic, I found it was absolutely fine, but sitting in Sydney traffic for about 45 minutes was not fun.
But yeah, on a country road on a winter's morning, I went out this morning on it. That heat from that seat was actually quite nice.
I will say that red seat looks so beautiful, and it really just adds to that kind of sporty Ducati look.
So the ride position was great. You're sitting up nice and high, not right on top of the bars, but up enough. You're really in control, and the handling then is fantastic. But that's, I suppose, to be expected.
I think like for a Ducati, I always think in my head that it's a really aggressive seating position, that you're going to be right over the tank and leaning really far forward, but it was kind of in between leaning forward and upright, and it was just a super comfy positioning.
So similar to your MT-07?
Yeah, actually it was very similar to the MT-07, maybe a little bit further forward.
Okay. What about sound?
Sound was nice. I really like that deep rumble, even when you're just sitting at lights. You know, you can feel it, you can hear it. It's not over the top loud, which some people might prefer.
Yeah, look, I thought the sound was nice. It sounded a little bit muted to me, but you know, like I think the sound was absolutely fine.
And then we have the TFT, which I thought was really cool. It changed between light and dark very quickly, and was really easy to read.
Yeah, it's probably not the best TFT on the market. It's certainly not the worst. Like the BMW S1000 RR is easily the best TFT I've ever used. So it's not as good as that one, but it's like everything was readable. Yeah, so really impressed with the TFT. Now we must say a big thanks to the sponsors of this video, Intrepid Moto Bali. James and the boys from Intrepid run 1 day, 2 day and fully customised tours of Bali, Lombok and Sumbawa that will ensure you get away from the tourist hotspots. The tours are just as much about being immersed in the local culture as they are about getting out and about and exploring these beautiful islands on a motorcycle.
Now we're excited to announce that in 2024, we will be doing a Biker Talk-led tour from Sumbawa to Lombok with the boys from Intrepid Moto that looks absolutely epic. I think we're gonna have to flip a coin to see which one of us gets to go.
Or we could do like rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Not done now, I've got to practice. The tour is 8 days from the 27th of July to the 3rd of August 2024, and it includes riding on some amazing roads and swimming with whale sharks.
Assuming they get the memo.
Hopefully they get the memo, let's hope they do, and a lap or two around the MotoGP track in Lombok. If you want more info, then shoot us an email, shop@bikertalk.com.au. Places are limited to just 6 riders, but it's also open to pillions. So if you're interested, get in quick. Speaking of quick, let's get back to the Ducati Monster.
I see what you did there.
Did you like it?
No. So the first thing is that clutch. It just felt really heavy, and so when I was holding it in, it felt spring-loaded and wanted to release. So by the end of the day of riding, my hand just felt really sore.
Yeah, I think you need to go back to the gym.
Oh.
You told me about that, and I tried and went, nah, it's not a heavy clutch. Like, it was a little bit heavy, but it wasn't that bad. So I actually demoed it this morning with like a few fingers and then one finger, and it was absolutely fine to pull in that clutch. So back to the gym for you.
Fair enough. And then the second thing was I found that throttle was just a little bit too snatchy for me at times.
Yeah, so it was snatchy, and then I realised we had it in sport mode the whole time. So sport mode, definitely a snatchy throttle. I then put it into road mode, completely smoothed that throttle out. And I rode in road mode for about 2 minutes, and then I put it back into sport because it's much more fun.
Fair enough. And then the other thing was I loved the look of everything on this bike, except this little patch of maroon on each side. I just don't know why.
I think it's to do with the colorways for the MotoGP version or something to do with the race colorway. Yeah, look, I didn't particularly like it either, but you know, that's what it is. That's why that color's there.
Yeah, just keep it red and black.
Okay, so for me, there was a couple of things. The grips were a little bit too thin, so I just jumped off my R18, which has got quite thicker grips, and I like the feel of those. So a little bit too thin, easy to fix, just pop some grip puppies or something, thicker grips on them. But the two main things I didn't like, The mirrors, I could not get them into the right position, and honestly, they were just, I don't really like the look of them.
Yeah, they weren't very adjustable.
Yeah, well, they are, but they don't adjust very well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was one thing I didn't like, but the main thing is, damn, this needs a tail tidy.
Definitely.
Like, wow, that is just one seriously ugly number plate hanger.
I also didn't find the seat super comfy. After riding it all day, I got off it feeling pretty sore.
Yeah, so I didn't ride it all day. I did a ride through the national park the next day, and that, you know, for an hour and a half or so. So I didn't find the seat too bad, but I know what you mean. The other thing is the heat from the engine. Man, it seriously needs a heat shield.
Oh yeah.
Really nice in winter around Sydney, but wow, that'd be really hot in a Sydney summer. I think we both agree this bike is fun through the twisties. It basically wants you to either ride everywhere at 5,000 RPM or get off and walk. I found it really agile. The engine is a scream. It looks good, easily one of my favourite looking naked bikes, and I know plenty are going to disagree. But based on that, I'm going to give it an 8. Tegan, where does it sit for you?
I think this is the first time, but we actually agree, because I would also give it an 8. I think it looks amazing and it rides like a dream. But we'd be keen to know what you think of the Monster. Do you like the looks, and would you buy one?
So we had the Monster SP on loan from Ducati for just over a week, and the first day we had it was a stunning winter's day here in Sydney. So we thought no point in staying in the studio. The editing of Biker Talk stories and reviews can wait, so it was off for a day's riding up the Old Pack Highway.
I was lucky enough to ride it for most of the day. We took it up the northern side of Sydney and onto the Old Pacific Highway, stopping off at the very popular Pie in the Sky at Cowan. It was my first time there, but you've been there a few times, right?
Yeah, so I have been there a few times, and I always have mixed feelings when I ride the Old Pack and also when I go to Pie in the Sky. The last time I got to do a ride with my dad was on the Old Pack back in about 2009. So it always brings back a flood of memories, both happy and sad. Not long after that ride, my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and so of course had his licence cancelled. So I've always got mixed emotions when I ride that road, but it's a great road, and if you live in Sydney, you'll know how popular it is with motorcyclists.
That stretch of road on the Monster was seriously fun, and I reckon I could have ridden up and down that bit of road all day, which a lot of people were doing.
Yeah, many people were doing that, weren't they? Just up and down from the pie shop. The Monster has been an icon in the motorcycling world since it was first released. It was the model that basically saved Ducati. And as motorcycle enthusiasts, it's natural to feel a sense of attachment to the traditions and characteristics of a much-loved model. So there was a fair bit of noise when Ducati replaced the trellis frame with the new version in 2021.
It's important to remember that the essence of the Monster lineup goes beyond just a frame design. The bike was, and still is, about pushing the boundaries of what a naked should be, embracing new technologies, and delivering cutting-edge performance.
The Monster SP has sleek lines, it's got a great suite of electronics and a striking LED headlight that showcases Ducati's commitment to blending style and function seamlessly.
And I think that's why we both agree on this bike, because it's a blend of what we both find appealing between more modern, sportier looks and the nakeds. But if you think that we're full of shit and would rather see an old school Monster, then check out this video that we did with Tracy and her awesome S4. And when you're done with that, check out some classics in this Ducati playlist.